Welcome back into our pre-Super Bowl coverage. Jazaleen Salinas and Avin here with you. Some Syracuse alumni as well as NBC producers. Guys, you working on the Super Bowl. Will Shea, Matt Fairfax, Gabe Carr Johnson, Ryan Nelson. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us, man. This is great.
Happy to be here.
Excited.
This should be fun.
It should. This is a whole Syracuse reunion, and this whole lead up to the Super Bowl, which is on your guys' airwaves, which everyone is incredibly excited to watch, a rematch between the Seahawks and the Patriots. We're going through interviewing a bunch of Syracuse alumni and getting your thoughts on what's been a crazy NFL season. So before we really get into anything else, whoever wants to start, tell us about the preparation you guys are just going through this week of being prepared for the big game.
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, it's been crazy so far, honestly. The thing is, this last couple weeks have been ramping up, but we've basically been preparing for the Super Bowl since this last offseason, where we knew that coming to February 8th, it was going to be all eyes on us, all hands on deck. So we've just been preparing. I mean, new graphics looks, new tape stuff, new cameras, new integration, all that kind of stuff. And going to the playoffs right now has been really good because we're starting to roll them out slowly, and it's been really, really successful. A lot of positive feedback from people and from the internet. So I think we're kind of ready. This crew has been together with NBC and Sunday Night Football for 3 to 4 years now, most people. They're ready to do a Super Bowl, and people are really excited for the game to get here, man. We're really excited for it.
And that score bug is no joke. Like if it's messed up, like people online are gonna rip you guys.
You guys are gonna hear about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's good you guys got out early. It really
many a meeting was talking about that. There was many a reference to we're not gonna do what Fox did. We're gonna keep it simple. Everybody liked the last score bug. Let's not change it too much. Right. So yes. I'm happy that people liked it.
100%.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about preparation and just talking about your time spent back here at Newhouse at Syracuse University. Newhouse prepares us so much, but when you guys finally stepped into the industry, was there something that may have surprised you, may have, kind of thought, oh, I had no idea what I was getting into?
I can go first on this one. For me personally, I think, the Super Bowl is something that we all kind of dream of working on, and I was fortunate enough to go on the Super Bowl trip my senior year. So I think it was one thing to kind of be there as a student. And when I went on that trip my senior year, I realized this is something I can do full time and make a career out of it. And I think I'm not, scared to admit I was definitely a little nervous and scared getting there just as a student and getting to see the spectacular production that it is. So I think this year working on my first Super Bowl as like a full-time NBC Sports employee, I've learned to kind of embrace the moment and trust that everything in my life has kind of led to this in a way. And it's just been awesome. And I'm just learning to soak it all in, I guess, and enjoy talking to the players from both teams, talking to the coaches, and just kind of, enjoying the moment instead of stressing, and just trusting the process, I would say.
Trust the process.
It's so interesting because I look back in that Super Bowl trip too, and I remember seeing the lead producer and the lead director and all the talent that was up at the media event and the media availability that the broadcasters had. I remember being at the event as a student, looking up to these people, going, I'll be there. I could be there in 50 years. And now here I am, 3 years out of college, going to work the Super Bowl with NBC. And it's almost surreal to really put that in perspective that, how quickly, you get to a point in this business where you get these special opportunities that, for many people, it's a bucket list thing to work the Super Bowl, to work the biggest event we could in the sports media, and to have that opportunity now. I know that I'm very lucky. And I know that Newhouse was the reason behind that, the catalyst behind everything, putting me in a spot early on freshman year to sophomore to junior to senior year to get these opportunities, to go on the Super Bowl trip, to make the connections I did to get me to where I am now. And so I'm forever thankful for that.
Well, let's go back to that Super Bowl trip when you guys were back here at Syracuse, talking to some of those people you might have made connections with. What are some of those moments that you look back on that maybe were crucial in getting you to this point, and just favorite moments you guys had from that trip and any of the opportunities you got over there?
Fairfax had great dance moves. I remember that one.
Yeah. Sure.
That is true. There was great dancers and there was great food at the Super Bowl media party. I kind of want to toss it to Gabe first, though, because Gabe had a unique role in that
Did.
trip. Because if I remember, you were actually there for the game itself, too.
Yeah, I was. I worked with NFL Films along with Newhouse. They sent me kind of late on into the week where all the students go and they do Radio Row and stuff like that. I came that Thursday, so I didn't experience Radio. I only experienced one day of Radio Row, and then so I really saw like the real preparations and how the TV trucks were parked outside. I saw how the producer and the director and all the cameramen, they got everything set up. They ran through many rehearsals, which I had to sign NDAs for that I couldn't say anything about. I think just seeing all that stuff and like it was weird because I didn't see anybody that was like our age, quote unquote, like college kids or like right out of college. So I was like, oh, just like they said, just like Ryan said, I'll see it in like 50 years. But now to see it 3 years after, it was honestly incredible. And then just being there for the game, it's like it's a totally different atmosphere than like anybody would ever imagine. And now I'm glad that I get to do it again, but like as an NBC sports employee. So
Yeah, I think that's something that the students here always imagine is, we're so privileged to be going on this trip, and we're just going to sit there and try to soak it all in and have the same thoughts of we're not going to be here again for a very long time, so we better cherish these moments. But you guys, met success so early on. What do you guys think that separated you guys from the others, being able to be at the Super Bowl so early on in your career?
So I'll take this one because I think I actually have a very interesting story about this. My last Super Bowl was actually the one before these guys. I went on the Super Bowl trip as well, which was the last Super Bowl NBC did, actually. It was 56 in LA, Rams Bengals. And I was a early graduate. I was graduating in the winter that year and was very fortunate to petition myself to get to go to the Super Bowl in February. But I was looking for jobs at the time and assumed I was going to end up in local news because it was what was available. I got to go on the Super Bowl trip, and one of our professors got to go with us, Dennis Denninger, for people who know, who formerly worked at ESPN, with the, at the time, executive and coordinating producer of Sunday Night Football and the Super Bowl that year. Working at the Super Bowl was an awesome experience. We got to do so many things. We got to meet so many people, and it led directly to Professor Denninger recommending me for an NBC job with Sunday Night Football. So it just shows that if you work hard and you prove yourself at Newhouse in Syracuse, the best place in the world, and you get to go and you use these experiences, it directly leads to your success. Because I'm not here doing a Super Bowl 4 years later if I don't meet the right people, if I'm not in the right spot, if I don't go to that school, if I don't work my butt off while I'm at that school. So like, it really just shows like it is a one-to-one connection. Everything leads to where you're going to go. And we got extremely lucky to be working Super Bowl 4 years out or 3 years out from our college experience. But we didn't take anything for granted. We really tried to work hard, and it just pays off. When you work that hard, good things do happen.
I mean, Ryan Nelson, when he was here at Citrus TV, was the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. I mean, I'm sure
you have it on the wall.
Fairfax was the realist. Okay, that's the real award.
Yeah.
I think
I really want to go back to Matt's dance moves that Ryan mentioned as well. What's he talking about?
you just always got to stay loose because you guys are going to know that you're going to have a lot of long days out there. And like I talked about earlier, it's okay to be nervous, but I challenge you guys to just enjoy each and every single day there and just demand the same respect that the people who have been working, the Super Bowl media events for 10, 20, 30 years, because, once you get there, you're all in the same playing field. You're going to be in the same setup. You get the same media availability. So really just take advantage and cherish it. And what I always kind of say is like, not to get too deep into the rah-rah Syracuse, but never apologize for being in Newhouse. Like take advantage of the network. You're going to, see a lot of familiar faces of people that you watch or listen to when football games are on, but you're also just going to be at a Syracuse table and you'll have some alums from maybe behind the scenes. They'll come up and be like, oh, Syracuse, no way, I went here. So just lean into that, take advantage of the connections and just be proud of where you came from. Because, Newhouse has done a lot in this industry, and with you guys, we keep pushing ahead towards the future.
And to jump in off that too, is like when he said, just ask, if you see someone walking by the table, you go, that'd be a fun person to talk to. Ask them. And I think that's the hardest thing to do, because I always remember sitting there, I'm a senior, I'm about to go in the job pool. And I'm like, why would Latavius Murray come talk to us? But Latavius Murray ended up sitting on our Z89 show that week. And it was a fun interview. Got to talk to him about the 2017 Minneapolis Miracle for my Vikings. We don't talk about the NFC Championship game that year, just the divisional round. But truly, the worst thing they could say is no, I don't have time. But the best thing they could say is yes. Right. And that could be somebody, a production person, behind the scenes person, a local, radio person in Seattle, a local radio person in Boston you may recognize, whatever it is, make the ask. And that's something I've taken into my professional life that I wish I had done more in Newhouse is, the worst thing you could say is no. And at a certain point, you guys are the media. You guys are just like everyone else. There's no reason they wouldn't talk to you over talking to the local radio station. So make the ask, because, that's what Newhouse really prepares you for.
So obviously you guys do a lot behind the scenes, and Mike Tirico, also a Syracuse alum, is the person calling the Super Bowl. Is going to be going and doing the Olympics right after. I mean, this whole stretch for NBC that he has is crazy. You guys talked about your preparation for the week and just the long process that it is, but for the kids who are watching who might want to be on air and come to Newhouse, who with that expectation of having those reps and making it to the big game one day, can you give us a little bit of insight into maybe the play-by-play preparation for this game?
A lot of meetings, a lot of research. You got to know everything about everybody. You see how if a backup comes in, it's so seamless, like how Mike does it. And even today, he was in our production meeting. It was like a 2.5 hour production meeting. He sat in there, listened to the schedule, the idea. Every week we present ideas, storytelling ideas to have a part of the game. He sat there, listened, took notes for each team. And he wrote down his own notes. He even presented his own ideas. And so that kind of stuff, just the simple stuff like that, you don't have to go to production meetings with the production staff, but he still does it. And that's just a big part of it, just knowing the little nuances of everything and be curious. That's the main thing, is just being curious and wanting to find out more and more.
Yeah, I echo the be curious thing. I think the other thing that Mike does so well, and that I think most people can emulate and take from him, is that there's no element too big or too small that he doesn't pay attention to. Everything from the opening title card to the fourth font on the defensive coordinator, he takes just as seriously. He studies, he understands, he knows what's important to say in every moment because he cares so much. And he can throw his own little personal twist on it. He's so knowledgeable about every guy and everything that's going on the field that he can relate things to people in a way that most people can't. But it starts at that foundation of he just cares. And he doesn't take anything for granted. I think that is something that a lot of young broadcasters can think about of it's not just about the big play. It's not just about the big call. It's about the 2nd and 10 run that goes for 4 yards. You have to still make that matter. You don't have to be screaming about it, but it needs to matter. Everything does matter.
My favorite nugget about Mike is that he starts his prep each week. This week he's going to sit down, and the first thing he's going to research about the Seahawks is not Sam Darnold, it's not JSN, it's not Mike McDonald. He's going to figure out what Drew Lock went to school, where the backup quarterback. That's where he starts all his prep. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great, encompassing of what Mike does so well. It's the smallest things, like Will was saying, the smallest things matter so much, because the second Drew Lock takes a snap in the third quarter because Sam Darnold's out, Mike Tirico will be the most informed person on Drew Lock, his family situation, whether or not he's got kids or not, everything about him that you could know about Drew Lock, Mike Tirico will know about Drew Lock. And I think that's a lesson that everyone can learn is, you can control two things. It's your attitude and your effort, and don't get beat on either one of those things. Make sure you're the hardest working person who walks into the room with as the person that people want to work with, because that's what Mike does every single week.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great tip for Adam White to take away. I honestly wanted to go back to what Gabe was talking about, being in that production meeting with Mike Tirico, one of the industry best. I am just thinking about it. I'm like, the imposter syndrome that I would feel. How do you guys establish that credibility being one of the younger people in that meeting, in the room?
I can start with this. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy because we literally were in the studio together, me and you, Jazz. Your freshman year, when I was in grad, it's like insane to think about. So I just, I don't take anything for granted. I just try to be as present in the situation as I possibly can. I honestly have to thank Mike for getting me the job because he's the one who literally got me this job. So I owe him everything as far as this goes. But as far as like being in like meetings with him and stuff like that, my first time I saw him in person, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's Mike Tirico. But now that you see him like more and more, it's like, oh hey, Mike.
Just Mike, my pal.
Yeah. He like stopped me in the hallway one time and gave me a hug. I was like, you're Mike Tirico. I'm Gabe. What are we doing?
I think just adding on to what Gabe said too, like in terms of not feeling like an imposter, we have a bunch of kind of core production philosophy guidelines we try to follow on Sunday Night Football. And one of them that always sticks with me is good ideas can and will come from every member of this team. That's something we kind of cherish, is like some of our biggest ideas have come from people who are only on their first, second, third years working on the show. And we all kind of put our brains together and pitch ideas where we think would work for a certain game this week. But no matter if you're, this is your 20th year on the show or your first year, you're pitching ideas and you have to be prepared and willing to defend them. So I think just treating yourself, that same preparation as some of the veterans is kind of something that I've leaned hard on.
I think the one time I got imposter syndrome is on the Thursday Night Football crew when I meet Peter Herbstreit each week. That's someone, you can't go. That's a celebrity that walks in the room and commands attention.
When that dog comes into the booth, I mean, everybody has to just freak out. Speaking of some of the celebrities that you guys get to work with, through NBC, I know, Matt, you also do Carrie Underwood's Open every week.
Yes, sir.
What's that like? Are you there while she's recording? Because that's like a starstruck. Like hearing her sing Sunday Night Football, like that's a big deal.
So I can't, diverge the full details of everything. There's a Carrie Underwood shoot that usually goes on in Vegas each year. And that's where they kind of film like all the stage shots, I would say. And then we do recordings with her in Nashville, because I think that's where she lives now, or primarily based. And she records a lot of lines because there are a lot of games during the football season, as you know. There's also the worries about the flexing as we get later into the week. But for my, limited experiences interacting with her, she's awesome. She never says no to any requests. She'll be involved in the Super Bowl in some way. Can't say how yet, but stay tuned. And
by the time people listen to this, maybe they will. No.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I know you can't say we have to wait.
Tell us after.
We have to wait as well with everybody else, so we get it.
I love it too, because it's so, sometimes with us behind the scenes people, it's a little, you have to explain a lot for people to understand what you truly do. But just being able to say like, oh, I work on the Carrie Open for Sunday Football, everyone knows waiting all day for a Sunday night. So it's great with her. I think this is her 10th year already doing it, something like that. So it's been crazy, and I think all of us will say we're just very blessed to be working on a primetime football property and a Super Bowl as well.
So because we're coming up on time here, I do want to, we have to ask about some of the fun stuff too. We've gotten to the celebrity part of it, but you guys have obviously been working a lot of games this year. Let's go through some of your favorite moments from the year. Any crazy highlights you remember watching that had the whole control room being like, oh my God, and maybe some lowlights as well. But I know the highlights are much more fun to talk about.
I think highlight of the year has to be divisional Bears game, Bears Rams. Caleb Williams at the very end of the game hitting the touchdown pass after running backwards for 45 yards was unbelievable. In 3 years of being on the road, I've never heard the truck yell as loudly for play as I did on that one. Everyone was losing their minds. So I think that was the highlight of the year, amongst an incredible amount of great moments this year in Sunday Night Football. But that was the one I think takes the cake.
And we lost Ryan. By the way, if you're not listening to this on the radio and you're watching the actual video, we just lost Ryan. So hopefully he gets back. But Matt, Gabe, I don't know if you guys have a different answer than that. Caleb Williams throw was insane, by the way.
Unbelievable.
I think for me, honestly, one of the highlights would just been what I've been doing the past 2 days. If I look a little tired, I just got back from a plane today because I was in Seattle and shooting at the Seahawks facility and kind of just shooting all of our, specialty footage, guys with the Lombardi Trophy, taking photos, doing the classic Sunday Night Football name and school lineup. So getting to talk to the guys like Sam Darnold, Jack Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, Cup's played in the Super Bowl before, but talking to some of these guys, like maybe in the biggest week of their life is pretty crazy. Like you guys start playing football at a young age and work their entire lives to try to get something to the Super Bowl. So to kind of talk to them about that and understand that raw emotion and that vulnerability has been pretty cool. I mean, and I know it's cliche, but just to hear their stories. I mean, we're in the storytelling business, and to hear, what goes into the preparation for a Super Bowl has been awesome this week.
Nice. Gabe?
For me, definitely week one. I'm a Bills fan, and that Bills-Ravens, the end of that game, oh, man. I think my heart rate jumped to like 126. And then, to see Matt Prater come in 3 days before, it was just,
Seriously.
you can't make anything up. And then, I guess my last favorite memory or thing that happened is the Open that's going to happen on the Super Bowl. You guys are just going to have to wait and see.
All right. Oh, that's a nice teaser.
Or you'll tell us after.
Ryan, you just joined back in time because it's now your turn. So
it's my turn?
Favorite memory, highlight.
He didn't want to hear the others.
No.
He just wanted to tell us all.
The second Will started going, I was like, maybe I could take a break.
You guys have been talking to each other for going on 8 years now, so I get it.
8 years? Has it really been that long? Jeez.
Yeah, it's been 8 years.
No, so I guess my favorite memory is, just this entire season. So obviously I work for NBC, so I'm working on the Super Bowl this year. But I do work on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime during the, regular season. I kind of join these guys for the playoff time. I will say I'm from Chicago. I may not be a Bears fan, but the divisional round game, when we came back to Chicago and there is the Rams-Bears game, I just, I worked in Chicago during the wild card game for the Bears-Packers game as well. Those two playoff games were just because I'm on the sidelines during the game. I work with the sideline reporter, Kaylee Hartung, who is truly the best in the business. I don't say that lightly. But working on the sidelines in Chicago, my hometown stadium, during a Bears-Packers game and a Bears divisional round game, in that stadium, there is truly nothing like it. And I was walking around the stadium the Friday before our Saturday game. And we were walking on the sidelines. I was looking up and I go, oh my gosh, I'm actually able to do this. I'm allowed on the field, not only now the day before the game, but the day during the game as it's happening. It's a pinch me moment every time I get to do that. I think we have the same experience walking on Levi Stadium next week as well. Just it's one of those moments that makes you really grateful for all the things that have led up to, the people you've met, the things you've done that kind of bring you to that moment.
Guys, this was awesome.
Yeah.
It was for the time that Ryan was on. Also, it was great, and we appreciate you guys so much for coming on. And obviously, Newhouse family is so strong. But going to school with some of you guys, and now kind of having this full circle moment. You guys were on the Super Bowl trip, and now we get the opportunity to go. Is very
crazy.
Cool,
yeah,
very cool full circle moment. So thanks for doing this little round table with us. For William Shea, Matt Fairfax, Gabe Johnson, Ryan Elson, Jazz, and myself. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we hope you follow more of the pre-Super Bowl coverage coming up soon.